So this is the third time I've come to make this video. It's not the fact that something's happened along the way or anything like that. It's not the fact that technology is difficult to use. It's the fact that I've just not got the details that I wanted from, or the results that I wanted from, because I was using a SIM card that I thought would be the answer to everything. So in this video we're going to go over how you get a data connection, how you get online using mobile data. It's not really about making phone calls or anything like that, although you can do if you want to use Skype or something, but this is all about getting online mobile data in rural locations where either the data signal is quite low and you want to boost it, or seemingly from your mobile phone or whatever there's no signal and you want to see if you can actually get a signal out of thin air. So if you've travelled abroad, say through Europe or something like that, you know about roaming, so data roaming, and that's basically when your phone uses its UK network, or wherever your home network is, to gain a network signal when you're in a different country, which is usually brilliant if you're in a different country, because then you can search for the best signal. Now if you're in the UK, or if you're in your home country, you're usually locked down to one network. So the idea of roaming around the country in my camper van and wanting to get online because I need to for my work meant that I need to carry lots of SIM cards for all the different types of networks with me and swap them over and try and find the best signal everywhere I went. And that is until I came across this SIM card, the Anywhere SIM. What the Anywhere SIM does is have an agreement with all the networks in the UK that this SIM card can connect to the strongest signal on the network and give you a data connection, in theory. And that's why I've recorded this video 3 times now, because I've been waiting to get support from these guys. From the first 2 occasions that I did it, it was just absolutely useless and horrendous. So the first part of this video, I'm actually going to give a quick review of the Anywhere SIM. If you have looked into it, or if you've never heard about it, this is all you need to know. So like I say, the Anywhere SIM allows you to plug a SIM card into your phone or your mobile data device and get access to all the networks in the UK. So that's currently Vodafone, O2, EE and 3. There are other networks on there, but they're virtual networks like Virgin or Smarty. They're virtual networks to other systems like Giphy and Tesco are virtual networks to O2. So basically there are 4 networks still in the UK, 4 people that operate the networks. The Anywhere SIM will access any of those networks, give you the best signal. Now in practice in this, and this is why this is the 3rd time of making the video, I've gone over all sorts of aspects of that connectivity. And the first problem is that when you plug in your SIM card and get on and say find me a network, it can take up to around about 7 minutes to lock on to a network and give you data. Now don't forget, there are still 2G networks around the UK, and this is where I've fallen over and why I've waited for these guys to come up with some support, because my findings are that in rural locations where there could even be 4G connectivity, that the Anywhere SIM will lock onto a network in 2G only. Even if you go and manually select a network that says 4G or 3G, it'll actually forget about it and lock it down to the 2G network. In a location where you've got full signal and there's definitely 4G, 3G, it will only choose 3G, it won't choose 4G. My findings are, and this is my assumption, that the Anywhere SIM will get you this access to a network, but all these 4 network providers know that this SIM card's obviously connecting and limit the capabilities of the speed or on the connectivity data wise of that network. Essentially they're rate limiting your connectivity speed. So for example, if I try an EE SIM card in my phone and I get 4G, I can get somewhere in the region of easily 30 megabits per second download. If I put the Anywhere SIM in there, I can't get 4G, I'm on 3G, and I can only get around about 4 megabits per second download with absolutely banging signal strength. The phone UK, full signal strength. So again, we'll test it on the speed test. just to see actually, you know, what sort of quality signal we get. So that was a really fast connection at 1.98 megabytes download. And just about 2.8 to 3 meg upload. Oh, a bit more, 3.4 meg upload. If I then sort of say, right, I'll put the EE SIM card back in there and I'll restrict it, so I'll change the network to only give me 3G and then do a speed test, I'm still looking at around about 18 to 23 megabits per second. Far superior quality connection than the 4 megabits. So the Anywhere SIM is definitely rate limited. It's unfortunate that's the case, because otherwise the concept behind it is brilliant. So from my findings, the Anywhere SIM is run by Manx Telecom, M-A-N-X, which is actually the Isle of Man's telecom company, so the Isle of Man network. So whatever deal they've got going on, rate limited and things like that, it's almost an emergency SIM. It's certainly not a solution that I can rely on, and that's why this video has been a bit kind of like, you know, recording one location, waste 2 hours, recording a different location, waste 2 hours, come back today and give you the findings. The Anywhere SIM, don't buy it unless you are desperate just to make phone calls anywhere you are. It worked fine for that, 2G, 3G, worked fine for making phone calls. Data wise, I cannot suggest getting it. Even on a 2G connection, you're supposed to get some sort of data connectivity on a 2G connection. This got nothing, zilch. So the Anywhere SIM, unfortunately, we're just going to bin that idea. It just simply doesn't work. That brings me to the second and more important part of this video. How do you get online in a place where there's limited phone coverage, or in fact you switch your phone on and it says I've got no network? So for this part of it, I'm going to use the Huawei E5577 4G mobile Wi-Fi hotspot. The reason why I've chose this one is because on the back there you can actually plug in an external aerial. Now 4G antennas require a balanced antenna. That means that you must have 2 antennas essentially. Some people say you can use a splitter like this one, where you plug in the 2 antennas but it actually goes to 1. So what we're going to do here is run through a series of tests to see what connection this gets on its own. We're then going to go through a really cheap few pounds worth of magnetic aerial for your roof with this little splitter device. We're then going to jump up to this little fella, which is supposed to be a wideband 4G antenna. That is supposed to be absolutely brilliant no matter where you are. And then we've got this device, which is a professional 4G remote location, get a signal from anywhere antenna that I've mounted on this little suction cup, because you're supposed to drill a hole through your car roof and put it on, but I'm going to mount it like that. So we're going to run through these tests and see with each test what speed we get, what signal strength we get. Now don't confuse signal strength with quality of signal, so that's why there's speed test there as well. So I could get, you know, like 1 or 2 bars with each antenna, but one antenna might produce like 3 times faster data connection than the other one, so that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to set it up now. I'm going to find the best network for the location we are using my separate little SIM cards, and then we're going to start running the tests. So we've popped the SIM card in and I've just switched it on now. If you are thinking about moving things around, phones and devices an awful lot, this little pack is fantastic. It contains a little tool for taking out SIM cards from phones, and also an adapter that changes all the different types of SIM cards into the different types of sizes. It's only a few pounds as well, so if you're interested in one of them, I carry them everywhere I go. Link in the description down below. So the first bit of the test, now this is booted up, is for it to find the signal again, to see if it can replicate the signal, you know, the 1 or 2 bars of signal it found on this phone, and then if it can it actually get a connection that's better? So is this device better than getting a connection than your smartphone just sat here on the table? So that's the first bit of the test. I'll give it another 10 minutes just to make sure that's alright, so let's come back in a minute. Okay, so I've given that around about 10 minutes now, maybe just over, and it's still showing no service at all. So I'm going to stick this on the roof of the van outside, connect these two up to there, and then we'll see how we get on there. I'm going to use the phone to test it with. I'm going to connect from the phone back here over Wi-Fi. So this is transmitting a little wireless signal, and then I'm going to measure everything else from the phone then speed-wise. So we've tried this little connection now, this little magnetic antenna. I've tried it in both ports, one on its own, all that kind of thing, and we're still getting no service. So I do know I'm in a remote location, and I've kind of done this on purpose. I wanted to absolutely test these antennas. So what we're going to do now is swap it over for this wideband antenna. We're going to stick that on the roof, just plonk it on the roof, and see how we get on with that one. So now with the wideband antenna connected, we seem to have a signal. We've got 1 bar. But at least it's a signal, and it's 4G, so that has improved what we were getting somewhat over nothing at all. So what we need to do now is a quick speed test where we can just actually see what results we get. So it still says finding server, finding provider, but it says go. So it now says connecting. Now I'm showing on the actual Wi-Fi hotspot that we've got 4G as well, so I'm hoping that we'll get at least a meg or two. And that would allow a little bit of remote working. So it's going up a little bit. So 1.3 meg. Bear in mind we had no signal whatsoever before, and we've now got 1.3 meg download. I'm still showing 1 bar of signal strength. So that's the network stats that we're actually connected to right now. We've even got a little text message. So there we go, a few tweets coming through, so it's all working fine. So now that we got that working, what I want to do now is try this professional version of a signal booster. I'm going to suction mount that to the top of the van, reconnect it, and then we'll see how we get on. Okay, so it's been 10 minutes now, I've let it stabilise. I've got speed test up, so we'll give speed test a go again and just see what we get. So again, 1.5 meg download. Alright, there we go. So it has actually done a little bit better. We are now getting a good result on the upload. What we can actually see there is we got roughly the same upload download figure. So I'm pretty happy with that then. So it is case then that from getting nowhere, as in we arrived, and although that this was saying there was some signal, we couldn't make a phone call and we couldn't get online. It was saying there was kind of like a bare signal thereabouts. The fact that we now have a 4G signal, we are using the external Pro antenna, and we've only got 1 bar of signal, but it's enough for 1.5 meg upload and download, which is enough for surfing the web, looking at Instagram, doing emails, and the basic kind of stuff. You could potentially upload a YouTube video if you were shooting in HD or something like that, but it is going to take some time unless it's a very short video. But at least we've proven the concept now that if you are traveling around and you get into remote places, as in where I am right now, where there isn't any normal way to make a phone call, there isn't any signal on a normal phone whatsoever, then what you need to do basically is get a device, pair it with an aerial, and give yourself the opportunity to get online. Now, like I say, if I was to use Skype now, potentially I could make a phone call over 1.5 meg if it held it up. I wouldn't kind of like to try that really, but you could at least use WhatsApp, and you know, over Skype you can send messages or send emails and things like that. So at least we've got online. One thing I have done over the past 2 months of trying to make this video is use all 4 networks on their own, the SIM cards, and find the best network that gives the best overall coverage and access, you know, to all networks, so 2G, 3G and 4G, so you do actually get a connection no matter where you are. My findings are that if you want something really cheap, then go for giffgaff. You'll get cheap data. It's almost going to give you a signal no matter where you are, but I can't guarantee it. In my tests, the absolute best network that I can personally recommend is EE. It's not Orange or it's not T-Mobile, it's EE. Basically go with them, pick whatever plan you want, whether it's pay-as-you-go or monthly, and then plug your SIM card into your mobile hotspot device and plug your external antenna in, and almost everywhere I've been, and I've been to some pretty remote places over the past couple of months, and with this setup I haven't really struggled to get online. There's been a few occasions where I've gone and moved the van, what, maybe half a mile down the road, and then I've got 1 bar of signal and I'm online. So I'm really happy to recommend EE as being the network that will get you online more than any other network in pretty much every location around the UK. So I hope you found this video useful. Links to buy this MiFi hotspot, the Huawei E5577, and the Pro 4G antenna, which is currently on the roof, are down below. Obviously EE's network, I'll link that for you as well, but it's up to you what package you choose from there. So thank you very much for watching my video today. Hope you found it useful. Please do give it a thumbs up if you did like it. If you're not already, please subscribe to my channel. If you like gadgets and you go traveling and exploring and all that kind of thing, then this is going to be the channel for your weekly fix of fun gadgets and hopefully interesting information. So why not consider subscribing? Tick that little bell as well to get a reminder when I place a new video, and I'll catch you on the next video. Happy travels. Bye.